Hello, grown black folks talk, escape velocity, practicalities, common mistakes and missteps. One of the practicalities of doing anything is to understand, okay, here's some things to avoid. Common mistakes and missteps. We've talked about a lot of stuff in this week. We've talked about a great number of things. And, we're going to go back almost to the beginning, vetting the circle and researching, vetting and research, research and vetting, vetting and research, research and vetting. But as you are doing that, let me just warn you of some very common mistakes and missteps that people make. Number one, a circle with higher income is not necessarily any healthier than what you left behind, nor is it any safer. It's common thing. Those of us who grew up in impoverished neighborhoods often thought that the other side of the track would be a healthier place to be. And sometimes yes, and sometimes no. You have to know how much investment the other side of the track has on keeping your side of the track just the way it is. How much investment in passive income are they making on keeping people in a terrible situation? That on the surface, because there's more money there, may be a safer place to live, but consider how they're making their money. Is that a healthier, safer group of people for you to be in? No, it's not. Do not mistake high income for safety. It is not. I expect that Jeffrey Epstein, a very high income earner, however many sources he had, I expect he was a very high income man. That ought to be sufficient evidence. His circle of people were all high income, royals even. That should be sufficient warning. Research and vetting, vetting and research. Okay? Common mistake. For those of you in relationships, ladies especially, a man who spends money on you may do that for a multitude of reasons. His circle may have more money. Again, remember that you live in a country that is not only not repentant about its slave owning past of owning Black women, not only remember that there is a manosphere basically encouraging Black men to seek to have very young women who do not know any better so they can basically mold them into slaves. Not only that, understand that since we as Black girls, little girls, were socialized adultification. Thank you, Themis and Thoth, the show Themis from Themis and Thoth for doing the show about this. Understand that since we have been conditioned to have to operate as little adults because the community was in such terrible need of that, understand that that also leaves us vulnerable to be molded and shaped in that direction. And that men know this because their forebears participated in this and the process of doing this to a generation of Black girls. Not all, but enough. I have heard men say that they want to marry a woman like their father had so he could make her in his image, like their father was God or something and had the right to make a human being in his image. Just because he makes $100,000 or more does not mean that he or his circle are safe. That's a good general rule anyhow. But ladies, because we seek security, that's natural. What I want you to think more about in your escape velocity is, how do I get this passive investment income together so I can secure myself? I want you to think about that instead. Okay. Gentlemen, for those of you out there who are also practicing hypergamy, looking for a woman that has a good job and have money, same thing applies. Just because she has all this does not mean that she's safe. Just because her circle has all this does not mean that it is safe for you to be there. And this is before we even bring children into the world. That is common misstep number one. High income does not make for a safer circle. Okay, that's number one. Number two, So we've done this week. We've got resources in the description. And here we have all this information. Common mistake and misstep number 2. So you have the information, you take it all in, you looked at it, you feel smarter, and that's wonderful. You fail to take a first step in actually doing something with it. Analysis paralysis happens to a lot of people. What I often do is that I will watch one thing multiple times until I make sure that I've absorbed a lesson and that I have absorbed an action step. And then I will hold myself responsible to do that one step. Nothing that you learn until you have actualized it doesn't make the least bit of difference in changing your life. If I say to you research and vetting, vetting and research, and you are absolutely bent on what you want to do next, and you just are so bent on that you don't do that, then whatever happens, like I say all the time, whatever you do, you pay for. You have to actually take action on this. Common mistake. You think because you have it here that it actually does anything. Nothing changes until you change. Nothing changes until you change your actions. Nothing. If I want to lose weight, I'm probably not going to sit up here at this hour of the day and be eating an ice cream dinner. I'm going to have some tea and some collagen because be walking around and you get about 40 years old, these joints need a little help. A big old cup of herbal tea instead of that. Nothing changes till you take action. Common mistake. Build up the intellect, do nothing with it. Now, when certain individuals talk about the intellect doesn't matter, in all fairness to them, part of this is what they're talking about. They think of themselves as people of action. So they probably know a lot of smart people who live miserable lives because they don't take action on what they know. And so this leads to misapprehensions about what actually gets the job done. It helps to be smart, but if you are smart, but you don't do anything with smart, are you as smart as you think you are? This is also a very common misstep. You got information, start acting on it. Take a small step. That's another common mistake and misstep. Another one, get in a hurry. None of the changes that we are talking about in escape velocity and none of the changes that we've talked about on Grown Black Folks Talk are things that are going to happen overnight. As I've shared with you on a previous video, I was close to a size 24. I'm now approaching a size 16. That didn't happen overnight. That's taken 2 years, 2 years of learning what I needed to eat and stop eating, 2 years of learning what my body type actually metabolizes, 2 years of COVID to have time to actually attend to me and not always to everybody else's needs, 6 months of life coaching to declutter even more. It takes time to make changes and it's not going to happen overnight. If you're in a situation where you're listening to this, okay, you may still be in the stage of, I got to get these other people out of my ears and out of my pockets before I can do any of this other stuff. You may still be in the stage of coming to terms with the fact that your circle is so toxic, it's not going to get better. And the most responsible thing for you to do is get the heck up out, whether that is physical or mental or emotional. It may be a relationship, it may be a church, but you're still in the stage of trying to realize, oh, this is really what's going on. So give yourself time. Do not be impatient. That is misstep number 3. Jumping the gun will cause you to miss steps on researching and vetting. So on one hand, start, which is misstep number 2, is people get a lot of information, they don't start. But on the other hand, once you start, have reasonable expectations on how long it's going to take you. With that, there also goes to this. Start and keep starting. Day after 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 day. It will be a while sometime before you see major change. And when you do get ready to see major change, please do not underestimate the amount of resistance that you may meet. Some of you need to make major change so that you can move. Some of you need to move before you can make certain major changes. Everybody's path is a little bit different, which is why I have kept things general. I don't know what your situation is. I have to be humble enough to, I can't give advice to everybody. I don't have, many of you have experiences that I did not have because people before me got certain things done so that even when the neighborhood went to pieces around us, I was kept from it. So there are experiences I know about, but I didn't have, so I can't advise you on it. What I can let you know is just based on personal knowledge of what works over time and what doesn't, and looking at all the people that have got things done in their life, what works and what doesn't. Starting out and being consistent in your labor and being patient, understanding that change does not happen overnight. It happens in small, consistent steps over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Do not underestimate that it's going to take time. Those are the 3 big missteps to think about. There's probably a number more. I could talk about the value of humility. I could talk about don't get too arrogant. I could talk, but these are the 3 big ones. You know, getting ready to do all this change and mistaking the idea that we're going to have more money and be with people and more money and think that's the solution. It's not. They have to be healthy. And not all people with money are healthier than people that aren't, because remember that some of the people with money are creating situations for people that don't have it. So there's that. There's also, you collected all this information and listened to this series, for which I thank you very much, but you have it and you don't act on it. So you got to start. And then once you start, the impatience of thinking, I started, nothing's happening, let me stop. Common mistakes and missteps on your practicality journey. But if you made it all the way to the end, I'm going to assume that you are someone who's going to begin to put this into application. Thank you for the time that you put in watching this mini series about practicalities of really escaping some situations and beginning to change your life. Like I said, I don't have all the answers. There's some things I had to keep general because of this, but I hope that this is inspirational to you and that the resources that I'm providing will allow you to find other ways and other opportunities. Will be wrapped up in those. Please start and keep starting. Day after day after day after. And of course, on this channel, we will have more content. I may not do another series. This week, I am going to be part of the Ultimate Music Business Summit. In my other life, I wrote a book called The Freedom Guide for Music Creators, and people still come and find me and ask me to speak at their events and sometimes coach them with their copyright issues. So I'll be doing that this weekend. So I may not have, I'm going to try to get the Sunday School Beyond lesson together, but we'll see what happens. If not, we'll pick that up again next week. And I am on the climb. I just have not done any filming because I had to get out and get back because I got back and got wet again today, just a little bit, but it was there. So I am out and about, but we will have further content to assist you on your journey. Don't even worry about that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thank you to my new subscribers and also for my old subscribers for staying with me. All right. When you see this, it's going to be Friday. So have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.